matzah is like some politicians that they come to stay.
That's right. They don't go away. I understand exactly.
Exactly.
They are like politicians. They want to stay. They don't want to leave.
I ate matzah earlier. Big John, I don't know if you ever seen it.
You know where the Golden Corral is? You
You
don't? You know where Walmart is?
Not too many people know this, but Martha originally
Okay.
was Spanish.
Oh, the Golden Corral.
I met him later on.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
thought that was a new name.
There's like
Okay, Shabbat
30
Shalom, good
police cars
Shabbos.
around.
Thank you for coming. Hey, Doc, how are you?
Thank you.
Is it snowing still? Is it snowing up in the Great White
No,
North?
it stopped a week or two ago.
That's amazing, really. So you came by dog sled.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Doctor. Okay, Shabbat Shalom, Good Yontif, Chag Sameach. I assume that by this time your matzah stores are getting a little low.
Yes, thank you.
Very, yes, we're down to the same 2 boxes we started with. Although on Weight Watchers, a board of matzah is only 3 points. They don't count the cream cheese and the jelly, but you do what you can. Okay, all right. Okay, wait, we have a hug break.
Yes.
Okay.
I just had a hug break.
Should be some hugging music. You know your hugging music? You're the lady that I love. I'm the lady,
Do a chorus of strangers.
You're the lady, strangers in the night, exchanging glances, wandering in the night. Toby's gonna sit down.
Toby's gonna sit down.
That's
how bad
the night was through. How about, you know what I heard about Nancy Sinatra, who did not sing Strangers in the Night? When her father was about to pass away, she missed his final moments because she wanted to see a Seinfeld episode. Is that true love or what? Yeah, really. I saw this online, so it must be true.
Oh, right.
True love. Okay, it's Pesach quiz time. Okay, and the winner gets a piece of matzah. Okay.
I want to lose.
And the question here is kosher for Pesach or not kosher for Pesach? Hummus.
Yes.
But only if you eat peas, beans, and garbanzos. Kitniyot. Very good. Kitniyot. Very good. Give the lady a kitniyot. Okay, here we go.
They ask here.
Kitniyot is legumes. Legumes. We used to say legumes. Back when I was a kid, we said legumes. Okay. See, the legumes, the peas and beans, when you boil them in water, they puff up. So our ignorant ancestors, let them all live, rest in peace, thought, no, they can't, they're deceased. Once you're deceased, you're no longer living and being well.
I know, just my grandma used to say it all.
Okay. Anyway, they thought it was chametz. They thought that the peas and beans were chametz. And furthermore, they ground up the peas and beans and baked them into loaves which resembled bread. And what did we learn about resembling?
No good.
Right. If something resembles the forbidden thing, it is forbidden. Okay? So anyway, the Ashkenazic Jews bring this mishigas to this country, and for years did not eat peas and beans. But meanwhile, over in the not-so-distant East, our Sephardi and Mizrahi brethren and sisterin are eating peas and beans very happily. And so about 10 years ago, Rabbi Michael Lerner, who is very dangerous, he's not only a rabbi but a psychologist.
There are many psychologists.
That's right, who are rabbis, yes. It was Mordechai Kaplan, the founder of Reconstructionism, who said, when rabbis became doctors, Judaism got sick. Anyway, Rabbi Lerner said, we have got to show solidarity with our Sephardi and Mizrahi brethren and sisterin. And so you are allowed to eat peas and beans, and here's the big one, rice. Rice. We had an education director when I was rabbi in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, said he, pointing in the general direction of New Hampshire. Is this New Hampshire? This way?
Close enough.
Yes.
Close enough. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Paul. And his name was Jim, and I said, Jim, do you eat rice on Pesach? He said, yeah. And he looks around, he goes, yes, I do. And I said, what's it like? He says, David, he says, once you eat rice on Pesach, you never go back. Like it was heroin. I don't think I've had rice this Pesach.
The issue is that this discussion goes years ago, because I think that in the Shulchan Aruch,
That's the code of Jewish law.
yeah, it says there, the Sephardim, they say, don't be like the Ashkenazim that they make everything more difficult and this. You can eat kidneyot.
Well, the truth is, the Sephardic Jews have a lot more joie de vivre than the Ashkenazi
The food
Jews.
is much better.
But
That's also why they have shorter haftorahs.
But then, 100 years after, there is another book that they call the Mapa,
Mapa, that's for Ashkenazi Jews.
where
See,
they say, it's true what the Sephardim says, that we can eat kidneyot, but if you are Ashkenazi, don't eat kidneyot.
You see,
Yes, it's like the tradition, yeah?
the Shulchan Aruch, the Code of Jewish Law, was written by Rabbi Joseph Karo, Rabbi Yosef Karo, who, in addition to being a great Mekubal, a Kabbalist, was also Sephardi. Okay, and the Mapa was written by
I don't remember.
not Mapu, Rabbi Abraham Mapu. Mapa. Okay, Shulchan Aruch means the set table. Mapa means the tablecloth.
Yeah.
So the table was Sephardi, and the tablecloth was Ashkenazi. But you're right, the Ashkenazim have a way of taking the air out of everything.
It's an issue of kishkes. It's an issue of tradition.
Kishkin?
But kishkes?
Kishkins, yes. I like Kishkin.
I do too.
No, not
Get
to
piece
eat.
of
I mean, I
dick
said, there are some things that you don't accept.
No, you're right.
Because
It's not intellectual, it's emotional.
If your parents are from Poland,
Yes.
you're born in Argentina, are you Ashkenazi or Sephardic?
if you put the
It's
chicken
Ashkefardic.
in a place, if you put a chicken
Yes.
and the chicken put the eggs in a stable, what is going to be born there?
The horse is
A
going to step
horse?
on them.
A horse or a chicken from the egg?
Nothing, the horse will step on the eggs.
A chicken.
And you gotta
So
scramble.
I am,
How does that
even if I was born in Argentina, my
Yes.
culture is Polish.
Yes.
I am Ashkenazi.
From an egg in a stable. Imagine.
But now rice does get bigger.
Who?
Rice?
Rice. Yes, rice gets bigger.
Rice has
Yes,
a-
yes. But during Pesach, you're not supposed to eat rice if it's underneath Chinese food.
What about
What?
What about wild rice?
Wild rice?
Technically, that's
Same
really
thing,
not a
it's
rice.
rice.
You cannot catch
It's
it.
not a rice. It's like quinoa. Quinoa is a
You
vegetable.
Yeah,
cannot
but it
catch
doesn't get
the
water.
white rice.
It doesn't come from.
Wild rice? Where do you find wild rice?
Minnesota.
No,
In the
you find
forest.
it
In the
right
West,
in
the
Whole
wild.
Whole Foods, you get wild rice. That would be
You
fine.
find it in Whole
That's
Foods.
fine. It's not a rice, it's a vegetable. Yes,
Would
Tom.
matzah bagels be accepted, or because
Bagels?
they resemble the real things?
Now we're over the edge. No, but bagels? Oh, matzah bagels.
Well, it's a bagel
Yes,
with
that's nothing. That's just matzah in a different shape.
Yeah.
But
Really.
you're saying if it resembles and it looks like, then don't have it.
No, if it's made out of matzah, matzah is
No, no, no,
matzah.
but
They
As
eat
Shakespeare
with-
said, matzah is matzah is matzah. A matzah is a matzah is a matzah. Yes.
The
You didn't know
issue
he was Jewish.
with the rice is that years and many years ago, they stocked the rice in the same places where they were stocking wheat. So, like the same with the coffee, with more things. So there are things that they do les affect, how you say?
Safek,
Just
it's
because-
doubtful.
Yes. So they start to do with the rice because they say, well, you can have rice, but the rice comes from the same place where you have a little bit of wheat and these kind of things.
Yes.
So who is telling you that you are not eating just
A kernel.
Okay, a couple things. Number one,
a nano piece of
as the cantor tells us, they used to put the rice in the cracks of the wall because it kept the cold out. Number one. Number two, what's number two? Wait, I had a number two there. Oh, yes, Hutzucker. What happened was, in Europe, they didn't have the Food and Drug Administration. So they would put flour in with the sugar. So a lot of Orthodox Jews did not use sugar on Pesach. Because this is the principle of no matter how religious you are, there's a guy in the next county who's more religious than you. That's why the Hasidim do not eat in each other's houses during Pesach. They don't trust each other's kashrut. Okay? But what's the thing? Oh, then they invented the famous hot zucker, which is cube sugar suitable for putting between your teeth and rotting your teeth while you slurp your hot tea.
No, it's
And that
glazolati.
is
It's glazolati.
right, but that is clearly pure sugar. There's no
Right.
flour in that sugar.
Right.
Okay. All right. Here's another steak. Is steak kosher for Pesach?
Depends
Yes.
on the diet.
Yes. What if it's treif?
You don't know.
And it's not kosher for Pesach.
Well, I don't know. That's a good question. It may be kosher for Pesach, but it's not kosher.
It's not kosher.
I don't know. All right. Falafel. Oh, this is easy. Falafel. Kosher for
Well,
Pesach or
depends
not?
Depends for who, no?
Falafel? Falafel only comes one way. From kidneyot. Falafel
Well,
comes
not for
from
the
garbanzos.
Ashkenazi, but for the Sephardi, they might be, if they do falafel.
Kosher for Pesach if you eat kidneyot. If you eat peas and beans, you can have your falafel. Yes, yes. Actually, anything deep fried tastes delicious. You can deep fry your shoe, and it'll be very tasty. Okay, sushi. Kosher for Pesach
No,
or not
that's
kosher?
right.
No, only if it's.
Oh, if you like
But you just gave me the whole spiel that rice is kosher.
Yeah, but, okay,
What if it's wild rice sushi?
no problem.
Okay, so wear a little cowboy hat and go yippee-ki-yo.
No.
No, wild rice is
It could
really
be-
not
could be-
great.
Could be kosher. for
I
Pesach.
actually like
Yeah.
sushi.
I don't eat it
It
though.
depends if from a
No,
kosher fish.
but I like.
What?
the
Well,
shrimp.
the sushi comes from a kosher fish?
Tuna.
Yes.
Salmon.
Tuna is a
Salmon.
Jewish fish. Tuna is the most Jewish of all
Yeah,
fishes.
but what if
You
it's?
find it on
what if it's
kiddishes.
More so than gefilte fish?
Yes.
What if
Yes.
it's a
that's
lobster?
just
Gefilte
chopped
fish is a
up
lot
stuff.
more
No, you can't
expensive.
have that anytime.
Wait, Toby, you have the floor. As part of the series. What?
Take the
Take the floor.
Take the floor.
We need new carpeting. Go ahead.
After I spill wine on it, for sure.
Right, yes.
Okay, but there are fish, all right, we won't do lobster and shrimp.
No.
But, I know.
But you can keep, however, you can keep them as pets. There's that scene in Annie Hall where Woody Allen and Diane Keaton are holding the lobsters. They say, put it in the water. And he says, hurry up. He says, if you drop it, it'll crawl under the refrigerator and couple with the cockroaches. It's New York. What were you going to say about lobster? We're not,
No,
we're
we
not
can't
saying.
use that, but aren't there tray fish besides shellfish?
Yes, okay. Fish has got to have fins and scales while it swims in the lakes and rivers. That's why swordfish is a gray area. And most swordfish are gray. But swordfish, okay, swordfish back in the 50s, it's amazing. The country was booming, the economy was taking off, the veterans were all home, I guess Korea was over, and the Orthodox and the conservatives are fighting about swordfish. Like we're all plotting for swordfish. Swordfish.
To eat it or not to eat it?
To eat it.
That is the question.
The conservatives say you can eat it because it has fins and scales. And they submit the question, let him rest in peace, to Rav Moshe Tendler, who is not only a rabbi, but a biologist and the son-in-law of the great Rav Moshe Feinstein. And he says, those are not scales, they are bony protuberances. So the Orthodox do not eat swordfish, and the conservatives do eat swordfish. How do you like them
Can you
apples?
imagine what the reforms eat?
The Reform eat whatever they want, as long as it
Notice.
isn't moving. Okay.
And the others they call sunfish?
Sunfish is
No,
it.
but-
Swordfish.
No, but the others one, the
Sunfish.
lobster, they are sunfish?
No. They are shellfish.
Shellfish.
However,
Shellfish,
as
because-
you know,
because if not, you cannot eat because they are sunfish.
No, because they're bottom feeders.
if you've gone, catfish too. If you've gone to a bar bat mitzvah, then you ought to be aware that some very enterprising caterers will take kosher fish and curl it and paint it
Yeah.
pink so that it resembles the forbidden item.
Imitation
Shrimp.
crab meat.
Yes.
Said the magic
Imitation crab.
Crab meat.
Yes.
So that can't be kosher because it's.
It is
No,
kosher
it's kosher because it's not his pollock, it's another.
because the caterer stands next to the cantor, stands next to the fish and says, "Of course it's kosher."
At these prices.
Yes. Macaroni and cheese, kosher for Pesach or not kosher for Pesach?
Now, yes.
Can you have Pesach noodles? Don't they make Pesach?
Now you can have, I don't know how they do
What
that.
if
And
you-
now
what
you
if-
can get
Pasidic noodles.
What, yeah, what if
Oh,
they're
well, there
made-
you go. You got no problem.
What if they're made from soybean, or?
Soy, because the Israelites in the wilderness did not know about soy.
So that counts as okay, it's
There's
for some
Yes,
lentil
why-
yes.
pasta, lentil pasta,
Right.
chickpea pasta,
Yeah.
Yes,
and all the
yes.
gluten-frees that
Right.
are made with rice are all okay.
yes. But if a very religious Jew comes along and he sees you serving soy, he will say, soy vase mir.
It's my line.
Bada boom. Okay.
So,
Lasagna.
No, it has to be made out of.
You can make it with, you can
Oh,
make it with
matzah.
the matzah. Okay?
Yes.
Matzah's very adaptable. Yes, Ida.
I bought some Geffen
Yes,
noodles from Geffen.
yes.
Threw it out.
That's right. Right next to the, right next to the kosher for
It
Pesach
would have been in my stomach.
breakfast cereal. We used to buy make-believe Cheerios
For life.
and make-believe Oreos and make-believe whatever they were, and the kids refused to eat them. But everybody liked matzah brie. Matzah brie, are we talking sweet or salty?
Salty.
Salty.
Sweet.
Okay.
I'm for salt.
You like salt? No sweet?
Oh my gosh,
We were
that's
living in New
delicious.
Hampshire. See, I'm pointing the right way. And we used maple syrup
Yes.
because it was the right thing to do.
My religious
Nothing
children
like a good
sometimes.
matzo bread. Love that.
Yes, and so dietetic. Okay, which of the following is not one of the 10 plagues? Blood, frogs, death of the firstborn, dinosaurs, or darkness? Oh, come on, they're going to the plague of dinosaurs. All right.
Is that
Which-
the final?
Yes, this will be on the final. Which is not part of the Seder plate? Roasted bone, charoset, cup of wine, bitter herbs.
Cup of wine.
Very good. Charoset is meant to look like mortar, clay, garbage, or glue.
Mortar.
Yes, very good. How do they make it look like glue? I gotta tell you, this was amazing. This was the Kamenetz Yeshiva in Cleveland, okay? And for years, I said this, the Shabbos group, they were sending out a Bedikas Chametz kit, a kit for searching for Chametz. The 3 components were a chicken feather, a wooden spoon, and a candle. Now, initially, they sent you a Shabbos candle, but over the years, the budget went down because they're sending you a Hanukkah candle. And I thought, this is a bit too much. How can you search for Chametz with a Hanukkah candle?
I like the feather bed.
Right, anyway,
And aren't you supposed to,
burn them.
religious people sell the chametz to someone else?
Oh,
or
you do that.
something?
That's a separate thing.
We
We
did
would
here.
sell it, yes, the cantor was the agent to sell it to William. He will be coming to your house this evening in about an hour
Okay.
to claim his
Are
Chametz.
you
Saturday,
allowed-
tomorrow.
Yes, what?
Are you allowed after Passover,
Are you allowed what?
after Passover,
Yes.
to take your chametz back in the house?
It doesn't go anywhere. It stays under your ownership, but it stays on your premises, but the ownership is transferred to a religious functionary who transfers it to a Gentile.
Yeah.
Nobody actually takes your Tupperware full of flour.
I'm not sure, whatever, my friend who lives across the street, who is religious,
Yes.
brought it to me.
Ah.
And I said,
That
okay,
is bad. She's not so religious.
she's not, her husband was.
Okay.
Anyway,
No,
so-
because she shouldn't give it to
You
a
should
Jew.
give it to a Jew.
Because she's making you to death.
No, but Toby has a temple connection, so she becomes the agent for this woman
Right.
who
my
passes
friend.
it to the agent, which is you, who passes it to the
William.
Gentile,
But
which
she
is
didn't
William.
do that.
She didn't do that.
But-
Toby, next year,
Years it
when
goes
she
round
comes,
and
you'll,
Are you kidding? It was only about 40 years ago.
40 years ago. Must be pretty stale by now.
No.
the key is
it was
eat
50.
it before Passover.
Right, that's what they do. The Sephardic Jews have what they call the Maimuna, and in memory of Rambam, Rav Moshe ben Maimonides, and they eat as much of the chametz as possible.
But don't they burn it in Brooklyn?
Yes,
They
but
take it out of the house and put
a
it
lot
in
of the
the
Sephardim don't live in
garbage
Brooklyn.
cans.
When I was a kid, it was a big deal in the old neighborhood. And all of us had cans, and we would collect the chametz from the various balabustas, and we would burn it. But the fire kept going out. So I learned something. First off, my old man brought home a paint can from the factory because he was an industrial chemist. I was the only kid in the neighborhood with a handle on my can. This was a big deal. And I took a hammer and nail and I made holes in the bottom. See, this I learned from the Boy Scouts. I had the Burning Chametz achievement badge. Anyway, but the best part was the year I was a grown-up already. I used a little lighter fluid. That chametz goes up like, wow. Of course, it burned down the house, but what are you going to do? It's important to be
Can't win
religious.
them all.
Yes, matzah must be made in how many minutes or less? 75, 36, 18, or 5. 18. You know, all the matzah comes from Israel now.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any American matzah left. Is Manischewitz? Manischewitz is the matzah monopoly of America.
Stripes is still
Stripes
there.
bought
Stripes
Stripes.
in Jersey.
Yeah.
They moved to
Stripes has it.
Jersey.
So is
But
Manischewitz.
Stripes belongs to Manischewitz also.
That's what I
The other way
hear.
around, I thought.
No, Manischewitz is the monopoly. Manischewitz is
There's very little left of the Stripes family. They're really all gone.
I'm sorry. Yes. So why are they baking matzah if they're dead?
They have a son-in-law and I guess some great-grandchildren.
Oh, but if they have a family quarrel, then the son-in-law will be struck and the grandchildren be ice.
Nobody, all the daughters, they're all gone.
Oh, I'm sorry. Where'd they go? No, I'm sorry. Okay.
Kevin,
The book used to tell the story of Passover is called the Tanakh,
No.
the Siddur, or if you want to be fancy, the Sidur,
No.
the Machzor,
No.
or the Haggadah.
the
I actually heard them pronounce it that way once on a recording. Haggadah. You know, Haggadah. That's when you're in a big hurry. Somebody told me about the 10-minute Seder. You can only ask 2 of the 4 questions. Okay, can I get more allowance? And when do we eat? Okay. Oh my. All right, well that's it for those
and
questions.
open the door for Elijah. We're finished.
Yes, I'm going to give you the Torah reading for Passover. Okay, this is for the 8th day of Pesach. Do the Reform have an 8th day of Pesach?
No.
No. Why do the why do the Orthodox and the Conservatives have an 8th day? Just to be different. See, originally, we weren't sure when the holiday began. We weren't sure when Rosh Chodesh was. It was no longer enough to step out in the streets of Jerusalem and look up and say, oh, I can't see the moon. Must be a full moon. So they used all sorts of methods because most of the Jews were living in Chutz La'aretz, outside of Israel. They were living in Babylonia. They were living in Persia. You get a really nice 2.5 apartment in Persia back in those days with a garage for your chariot. And so they tried a series of runners, but it didn't work because they're Jewish runners. They can't expect them to exert themselves. And then they tried a series of watchfires, bonfires, which they lit on the various hills surrounding Jerusalem. Jerusalem's in the mountains, if you haven't noticed. And they didn't have a decent water supply till the Romans built them an aqueduct. Anyway, who messed up the bonfire method? The Samaritans. Okay? The Samaritans are the only religious group that we persecuted. Okay? Because what happened was this. Return with me, if you will, to what year is it? What year is Shivat Zion? When did they go back to Zion after the destruction of the Babylonian Empire?
The first time between.
The first one is 586. They leave.
Yeah.
But when do they come back? Okay, you'll
Like
get that.
100 years after.
100 years after. Very good. I can't do the math on that one. But anyway, they come back, and what happened was the Babylonians would transfer people around. Because if I move you from, where are we now? Pompano Beach to Margate, you're not going to rebel against me. Because first you have to fight your way out of Margate and fight yourself all the way to Pompano. I'm always disoriented. If it weren't for GPS, and they didn't have GPS in those days. So the Israelites come back to Zion, come back to Israel under Ezra and Nehemiah?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were in Babylon. They were
Yes.
the ones that.
Ezra and Nehemiah.
Torah.
Yes, Ezra is the one who read the Torah, and Nehemiah is the one who says, you better divorce her, she's not Jewish. Okay. Anyway, so what happens next is that the Samaritans had been deported to the area of Israel, and they converted to what they thought was Judaism. They're called lion converts, because lions were attacking them until they converted to Judaism. That's the emes. It's
Yeah, the MS.
really happened. So the Samaritans greet the Israelites, hey, we're Jews too. And the Jews say to the Samaritans, no, you're not. Go away. So there was war between the Jews and the Samaritans. That's why you-know-who told the story of the Good Samaritan, because the Samaritans were definitely at the bottom of the social order. Samaritans still offer the Paschal lamb. They still slaughter a lamb, and they offer it at their shrine, which is on top of Mount Gerizim, Har Gerizim, in Jerusalem. At one point, there were only 200 Samaritans in the world, but I think there are thousands more now.
So they're not Jewish.
Well, they're not Jewish, but they're kind of, sort of an offshoot of whatever we are.
Well, they're not Catholic, they're not Protestant.
No, they're not. No.
They're kind of Jewish.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
think
but
so.
they just go through the law of the Torah. All the Torah that is the discussion of the
Torah
Torah.
Shebichtav.
Torah
The
Shebichtav.
written Torah.
Yeah,
That.
not the
The
other.
one that Paul walked out of here with.
Done.
Okay. Now, the oral Torah is the Mishnah and the Gemara. Okay? And you might, the Talmud, and you might say, and I'll finish with this, you might say, oh, but wouldn't it be much easier to have only the written Torah? You wouldn't have to study the Talmud? And the answer is no. Because, right, because an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth would be literal. Whereas the Talmud says, we're not talking about a literal eye, we're talking about the value of the eye. If two men fight and one of them knocks out the other one's eye, then you have to calculate the value of the eye, the pain and suffering, the time he's going to be in the hospital. Maybe for the rest of his life he'll have to wear a patch, and pay him that amount of money. And that's only in the Talmud. So going by the written law by itself is not sufficient. Okay? Well, that was very confusing. Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos. I have I'm not going to do it, but I have an article about the Avengers, who are all Jewish, by the way. You know, Marvel Comics is Jewish, because Stan Lee was Jewish, from Queens. Yes, Stanley Weinstein was his name. Let him rest in peace. Okay, very good. So what we're going to do now is light the candles, and then we're going to do a somewhat adapted davening, because, why don't you tell them, Candy?
Well, there is a part of the service that we usually don't do on Shabbat generally, but that is the Kabbalat Shabbat. The Kabbalat Shabbat has like 7 psalms, and then the Nechadodi, and then the Shabbat, the psalm for Shabbat. And whenever it is a holiday, like Pesach, Shavuot, or Sukkot, it's like we give more room or more importance to the holiday than the Shabbat in that moment. And we skip these parts of the Shabbat. For us, will be that we are not going to sing today the Nechadodi. We are going to replace that with the next tune or the next psalm, that is the Mizmor Shirei Yoshua.
Yes. Are we starting with the Shalom Aleichem?
Yeah.
Yes, the cantor and I discussed, and we're giving you
Shalom Aleichem is
permission
always.
to sing Shalom Aleichem. But not in a loud voice, and don't look like you're enjoying it. Okay.
Shalom Aleichem we always can. And we can also finish the service with the Shalom Aleichem. So Shalom Aleichem.
You want to do 2 Shalom Aleichem?
No. I mean,
You want to finish
you
it?
we can sing it in any moment. It's a Baruch Haba.
Okay, we have to light the candles before the
Yeah.
cantor is inspired to sing the Shalom Aleichem.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, Sherry, would you honor us by lighting the candles, please? All the ladies, go in this direction. So if you want me to come to your house and check out that chametz, I'll be glad to do it. There you have it. You got the chametz in the trunk of the car?
It's good to see you.
What about the Empress? Is she in the trunk of the car?
Come closer.
Hi, Shabbos, Paul.
How you doing?
So far, so good. It's a great holiday.
Rita, is
Okay, we're gonna light candles. Shel Hadliki, Shel Shabbat, Shel Yom Tov. Light candles, Shabbos,
Be having
Yom
money
Tov.
by
I'm not sure.
candles.
You're kidding? No, I'm not kidding.
You're doing very well.
Oh,
considering the circumstances. Okay, we wave our hands over the candles. We're bringing Shabbat and Yantif. We cover our eyes and sing. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, le'adlik neh shel Shabbat. Amen. Asher kidshanu
Etzivanu,
Etzivanu le'adlik neh, Etzivanu le'adlik neh, Etzivanu le'adlik neh, shel Shabbat. Amen. Shalom for Shabbos. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbos again. Shabbos. After the holiday, you come back to Shabbos. I believe
Rudy, good Shabbos.
Page
number 13. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Shalom, V'yimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Malachei Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Malchuni Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, V'yimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seichem Shalom, Malachei Shalom,
All right, we'll move right on to page 23 with the Psalm for Shabbat. 23. Sure.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולסבר לשבחך עליון, ולסבר לשבחך עליון, להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, בשבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולסבר לשבחך עליון, ולסבר לשבחך עליון. כי שיבחתני אדוני בפועלך
Reading silently.
צדיק אתה המה יפרח, כארץ בלבנון יזכה, שתו לי בבית אדוני בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו Oh, Yerubun, Etzeba, Yesheim, Beradanim, Yeyom, Ve'agim, Ki Yashar Adonai, Tzuri, Tzuri, Kedon.
right, we're going to say the mourner's Kaddish. There's someone here needs to say Kaddish. So it's page 24. Only those saying Kaddish should please rise. To our dear friend Irene Abrams, we say, Hamakom Yenachem Otach B'toch Sha'arav Alei Tzion V'Yerushalayim. May the Almighty comfort you with the rest of the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. We'll say Amen.
Amen.
And the mourners Kaddish. Yit Gadal V'Yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah. Amen. Yalma Divrach Hirutei V'Yamriach Malchutei. V'chayechon V'mechon V'chayei V'chol Beit Yisrael. Agalau V'zman Pariv Yivru. Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Le'olam Rabbein Maya Yitbarach. Yitbarach Yishtabach Yitbahar Yitroman Yitnaseh. Yitadar Yitaleh Yitalal Shemei Tekudesha. Ve'elam Min Kol Birchata V'Shirata. Tushbachata V'Nechamata. Amiran V'Yalma V'Yimru. Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya. Chaim Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Yimru. Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Momav. Uyaseh Shalom. Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Al Kol Yoshvei Tevel V'Yimru. Amen. All please rise. We have the Baruch Hu on page 28. We'll open the Ark. Let's see. Al, would you and Toby honor us by opening the Ark, please? Bow towards the Ark, and the cantor leads us in the Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu
Baruch Adonai Haborah Le'olam.
Baruch Adonai Haborah Le'olam Amen.
The doors are closed. You may be seated.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בדברו מלאים ענבים בחוכמה פותח שערים ובתבונה משנה עתים ומחלים את הזמנים ומסיים את הכוכבים, במשמורותיהם ברקיע כרצונו, בורא יום ולילה, גולל אור מפני חושך וחושך מפני אור. ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני, הבאים ברבים.
Page 29.
כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגי יומם בלילה ואהבתך תסיר ממנו לעולמים ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל.
Page 30, we cover the eyes for the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Uncover the eyes. Baruch Shem Kevod, Malchuto Le'olam Oed. Reading in the English. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. And these words which I command you this day you shall take to heart. Teach them diligently to your children, and recite them at home and away, night and day. Bind them as a sign upon your hand and as a reminder above your eyes. Inscribe them upon the doorposts of your homes and upon your gates. Reading silently the bottom paragraph on page 30. Continuing on page 31.
Adonai Elohim Emet, Emet Memuda Kol Tzodveka Yavaleinu.
32.
You Adonai Eloheinu, Venezu Latron, Panachnu Israel, Avo.
Bottom of the page, we have the Milchamocha.
Milchamocha ba'elim Adonai, Milchamocha ne'arach kodesh, na'oram tefilot oseh feleh. Malchutecha ra'uarecha, bokeh yam livnei Moshe, Seni anu ve'amro.
Adonai Imloch Le'olam Kohen.
ונאמר כי פדה אדוני יעקב, וגיהלום יד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
All right, page 33, we have the paragraph that we dedicate to the folks who are not well. On my way here, I had a conversation with Laura Durant, and she was in good spirits as always, and she is being discharged tomorrow early afternoon. I'll be spending time at her daughter Meryl's house. She will have to go back to the hospital for treatments, and our hearts go out to her. She's really been, I have to say, she's an inspiration to one and all, as well as me. So we wish her refuah shalema. Thinking also about Adele Greenblatt, refuah shalema, Malcolm Black, refuah shalema. Yes. Refuah shalema. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Jerome Rada
Refuah
and
shalema.
Marlene Rada.
Refuah shalema. Yes. Stop.
Jim Riley,
Refuah shalema.
Kevin Downs,
Refuah shalema.
Penny Whitehead.
Refuah shalema. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Totally.
Nancy Austin,
Refuah shalema.
Todd Austin,
Refuah shalema.
Lauren Maurer,
Refuah shalema.
Lisi Shapiro,
Refuah shalema.
Davidson George.
Refuah shalema. Okay. I'm sorry.
Back to me.
Back to Stuart. You'll be last but not least.
Oh, James Basmagian.
Refuah shalema.
That's it.
Okay. Yes, go ahead, please.
Rhoda Silverman.
Refuah shalema.
Ralph D'Angelo.
Refuah shalema.
Epstein.
Refuah
Joel
shalema.
Schenkman.
Refuah
David
shalema.
Weinrab.
Refuah shalema.
Marty Fogel.
Refuah shalema.
Bart Dozer.
Refuah shalema.
Serafina Klein. Barton Reynolds. And Russell Shotgun.
Refuah shalema.
Sounds like a 42nd Division at fault.
Here comes Paul.
No, this is just the office staff.
Anyone who's not well.
Bruce Martin,
Refuah shalema.
Kenny Mahandeo,
Refuah shalema.
Enrico Mascaro,
Refuah shalema.
and more.
Refuah shalema. Also thinking about our brave troops protecting our country here all over the world. I want to say that after class, one of my little girls came up to me and told me she was joining the Marines. I think she weighs maybe 60 pounds soaking wet. So we pray for God's protection for her. And of course, the great state of Israel. They should go mechayel el chayel, from strength to strength. Say amen.
Amen.
Okay. All right, here we are. Oh, let's read the English paragraph on 33, top left. Help us, Adonai, to lie down in peace, and awaken us again, our sovereign, to life. Spread over us your shelter of peace. Guide us with your good counsel. Save us because of your mercy. Shield us from enemies and pestilence, from starvation, sword, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, O God, who watches over us and delivers us, our gracious and merciful ruler. Guard our coming and our going. Grant us life and peace, now and always. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Praise to you, Adonai, who spreads the shelter of peace over us, over all his people Israel, over Jerusalem and the entire world. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, Baruch atah Adonai, Borei sukat shalom aleinu v'el kol amo Yisroel, v'al Yerushalayim, v'el kol ha'olam kulo. Amen. I'm going to do both the Vishamru and the Vayidaber. Maybe no Vishamru. Okay.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות ולעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות ולעולם. ואני אומר בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות ולעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות ולעולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות ולעולם. מצרים וידבר משה אל מועדיה, אדוני אל בני ישראל, אל בני ישראל. יתגדל ויתקדש שם רבך, ועל מה דיברה כינותך ויבריך מלכותך, וחיי כל יום ימיך, וחיי כל בית ישראל. ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשי להביא כל ברכתה ושירתה ראש וחסה ולחם עשה תמיד
All right, we do the Amidah for Yontif with additions for Shabbat. That's on page 41b. And of course the insertions for Pesach. That's on page 41b. It concludes on 44. When you're finished, you may be seated.
Okay, we are on page 48. Indica dare vita cada Hashem Rabba. Vi alma di miracolo de Amerik man kunto ve kai kol ve kai de kol Israel. Maro itu angani ve ibro. Amen. Ye ishmei Rabba ve borak. Yora Idvara kwistava kwit parvi dromi drase. Vitadar vidal vidal shve kudesha. Rega vi kol vir khata ve shilata tu shve khata ve khata vi rabba ve ibro. Amen. Ikavele tzrotro to de kol Israel cada vot di bishvaya ve ibro. Amen. Ishme parava bishvaya ve kai male kol Israel ve ibro. Amen. Ose shalom bimrova, yase shalom aleinu, ve'akol Yisrael, ve'akol Yosvei Tevel, ve'gimelu amen. Ose shalom bimrova, yase shalom aleinu, ve'akol Yisrael, ve'akol Yosvei Tevel, Okay.
We want to thank Sherry.
I'm sorry, but your choices are great choices.
For the eclectic collection of cups
And this is for
chosen from the Pesach collection.
I did the best I could with what I had. So
No, you're wonderful. Thank you so
no
much.
paper cups.
Lennox, yes.
They got
Third from the left.
Matzah. You
also
want
on
with
the right.
matzah ball or without matzah ball?
I'll take it with the matzo ball.
All grape juice.
Matzah ball.
Thank you.
Grape juice or grape
It's
juice?
grape juice.
Great juice.
Great grape juice.
Does everybody have?
The juice of grape.
Catchy name,
Great
grape
grape.
juice.
Yontif, Yontif.
Everybody have?
See, what happens is Friday night we're mostly Yontif, and then in the morning we're Yontif, but then we gradually move into Shabbat again. Or maybe it's the other way around. Tomorrow is Shabbat, and then we move into Yontif. That's it. Shabbat precedes.
After Shabbos? It's over?
No. The 8th day of Pesach. Oh, it is tomorrow. You're right. Yes.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
Tomorrow's Saturday.
On the 8th.
No, it's the
Okay.
It's the 8th day of Pesach. 2 Torahs, Yizkor, count the Omer, and do the Song of Songs. I think that's it, besides playing dreidel and fasting.
Okay.
Right now, it's for the 9 or the festival one on 50.
Oh.
But tomorrow's it.
Now I'm going to tell you, for me it's a festival.
Yeah, it is. It's a Yontif. It's a Yontif with additions of Shabbat.
Yeah, for the insertion.
Page 50.
58.
50.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, kol borei pri hagafel. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher בחר בנו מכל העם, ורומם בנו מכל השור וקידשנו במצוותיו. ותיתן לנו אדוני אלוהינו מאהבה, שבתות למנוחה ומועדים לשמחה, חגים וזמנים לששון. את יום השבת הזה ואת יום חג המצות תעשה. צבא חילותינו בים המקרא קודש, זכר יציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ובנו קידשת מכל העמים. כי בנו בחרת ובנו קידשת מכל העמים. ושבת ומועדי קודשך ואהבה ורצון ושמחה וששון הניחה לתענו. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat, Ve'Yisrael ve'azmanim.
Amen. You'll notice we didn't do Shechayanu because by this point Pesach is getting old. And we also didn't do Leishev Basukah because we haven't been here until October. Okay. Now we've got the Aleinu. Oh, no, we have to count the Omer.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's on page.
If anybody has any prayers they'd like us to add, please let us know.
Thanks, Sherry.
Sure.
Rip?
Let's get some in here.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rib, I have to redo the hard already.
You're not allowed.
Okay.
You ticklish?
What do you want?
The early part of the davening is Yontif, so you don't do the hard.
That was funny.
You need some help?
No, I'm good.
Okay. I don't wanna
Keep
put
in
it
mind,
there.
this is a religion invented by Jews.
No, we gave it to the office.
Yes, thereby accounting for its strangeness. The logical thing would have been to find
But it's kind of a strange thing, the Christian religion.
One something. I'm sorry,
You know,
55? Yeah, they do. It's 55. For some reason, they put it pretty early in the davening. It really should be in the back of the spread.
All right.
Christian is
לקיים מצוות עשה של צבירת העובר כמו שכתוב בתורה הנני מוכן ומזומן כמו שכתוב בתורה הנני מוכן ומזומן וספרתם לכם ממחרת השבת הנני מוכן ומזומן מיום אביכם את עומר התנופה הנני מוכן ומזומן שבע שבתות ובימות תהיינה עד ממחרת השבת השביעית תספרו 50 יום.
Number 7.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו על ספירת העומר. היום 7 ימים שאין שבוע אחד לעומר.
In honor of Malcolm, we do, let's see, making 1 week exactly. All right. Okay, back to the Aleinu. The Omer, incidentally, is a wave offering. It's about a handful of barley. Barley ripens much faster than wheat or oats. I know this from yeshiva, where we brew these things on a regular basis. And you do the wave. You wave the Omer in front of God, in front of the altar. Okay, wave offerings are pretty common in the Torah. At one point, the entire tribe of Levi is a wave offering. Okay? That's the
I'll wave goodbye.
Okay, back to the Aleinu on page 51.
משתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא
שאמונות לשמיים ויוצא לארץ ומושב יקרו בשמיים עד ושכינת תוצא ושכינת תוצא וגבי מרומים הוא אלוהינו אלוהינו אפס מלכנו אפס עולתו ככתוב בתורתו וידעת היום אשר רוצה את לבבך כי אדוני הוא
not saying Mourner's Kaddish, you may be seated. Page 51. Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Yalmad yivrach cherutei v'yamliach malchutei. V'chayechon v'mechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. Hagalo v'zman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevorach v'yolam v'nei Maya. Yitvarach v'yishtabach v'yitvar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. Yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal Shemei d'kudashah b'rihu. V'elam min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechamata. Tamiran b'yolma v'yimru Amen. Yehei Shalom Rabba min Shemaya. Chaim Aleinu v'al Kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom b'mromav. V'yaseh Shalom. Aleinu v'al Kol Yisrael v'al Kol Yishvei Tevel v'imru Amen. All right, please be seated.
Rabbi, I have a question here. I was
Yes.
noticing the Torah cover. Somebody upstate wanted to donate a Torah cover,
Okay,
but all the Torahs already had covers.
okay.
So what do you do in a situation?
All right, in Portsmouth, what we did was we had a set of white, a set of blue, and a set of gold. Oh, no, a set of maroon. And we alternated, okay? The white went on for the High Holy Days. After that, we went to the blue, and after that, we went to the maroon. So it's a nice thing. It's very democratic. Everybody gets a crack at the Torah, and it also encourages donations.
If you have 365, you one share.
Yeah. All right, Real. I want to thank the cantor for a very heartfelt and ruachdik davening. I want to just read a few announcements off the bulletin. We do miss our wonderful president, Rita Fleming Klein. We wish her a full
Especially we, because she's the only one that talks so well,
Yes,
so good about you and me.
that's very kind. Okay, in her absence, I will say nice things about the cantor.
And the candles,
Mutual admiration. The annual temple membership meeting will be April 29 at 7 p.m., which is just 3 short days from now. And please come to vote on some important temple matters. Let's see, we also have the Holocaust Memorial Service on Wednesday, May 1st.
At 7.
Yes.
So come, even if you fight in the meeting of the 29th, you can come anywhere. Okay?
Does
Yes.
that mean there's no class Wednesday night?
No.
We'll do a piece of it. We'll work something out.
Okay.
Okay? We do have a class. I do have a class tomorrow, and I was hoping to do the year 1666, which was the Annus Mirabilis. That is the miraculous year where all kinds of things happen. But I want to focus on Shabtai Tzvi. Shabtai Tzvi is probably our most famous false messiah. He's a very important historical character, and he had a strong influence on Judaism as we practice it today. After him also came Frank. That was the family name. I think Joseph Frank was his name, but that's a totally different direction. Also a false messiah. All right, Mahjong, Mondays at 12:30. Diving into the Siddur with Cantor Javier Smolars. Thursdays following the 8:45 a.m. Minyan. Canasta, there's a book club on Tuesdays. And Wednesday night, of course, we've got Jewish current events, and we're just chugging along. There's a lot of stuff happening out there.
Monday
Yes.
morning.
What? Monday morning, the discussion group Aging Gracefully, which had been led and we hope in the future will be led by Laura Durant. Dr. Joel Lubar will.
No, he's away.
Okay, somebody. I mean, she
Okay.
left. She left.
Yes.
She's
All right.
still in charge.
Instruction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Are you aging gracefully?
Tomorrow.
Are you aging gracefully?
I hope not.
Oh, well then you can join. You can lead the group.
Consider the
Tomorrow,
I'll be
East
on
Court.
that Wednesday, I'm sorry,
Wednesday, this Wednesday.
4:30.
Oh, Wednesday at 4:30. I don't know what's happening Wednesday. What happens Wednesday?
You won't have a class.
Oh yes, why not?
It's Yom HaZikaron, Israel Remembrance Day.
9 at 7.
But we don't have a service that night. We have one May 1st.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, so Wednesday the 8th we will have business as usual. We will have classes.
No,
I will-
what about
We're talking
Wednesday
about the
first?
first.
The first. I mean, at 4:30 you can.
Wednesday May 1st I have
See, if you
here.
put stuff in your phone instead of looking in your little book,
I
you
do.
know all
I
of
put it in
this.
both
You
places.
do?
Yes, it's easier to use this. Okay, we have the Holocaust Memorial Service at 7. And it's possible at 4:30. What's 4:30?
That's your Hebrew class.
You have a class of Hebrew.
I have a Hebrew class at 4:30.
Yeah.
And it's
Soy
7.
Vargas.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So
Muy bien.
What are we doing with these old people?
So who comes here to the class of Hebrew?
Oh, we do
So
have.
you come.
We did Israeli slang last week.
Oh,
Mabsut.
so, and the bad words also?
Chabal al Hasman.
Bad words?
It's not a bad
No,
word.
no, no.
You can't really curse
If you are teaching
in Arabic or Russian. Or Spanish. Spanish.
the
has
great
some good-
curses
Give us a
are,
curse in Spanish.
I can't. But the great curses
I know.
are in Yiddish,
Yes.
and we should
Never
have
mind.
one day, because every curse in Yiddish has a reason to it, and it's very fun.
Now do a Yiddish curse.
Yeah.
May you be very rich, and may you have 1,000 mansions, and each mansion should have 1,000 beds, and each mansion should have 1,000 rooms, and each room should have 1,000 beds, and you should flip from bed to bed to bed with a choleric fever.
No?
A chalaria. Okay.
Okay, anyway.
Well, that was
Never
really good.
mind.
Congratulations on
The
that.
Never
rabbi
mind.
told me before, starting the service, that being a rabbi, you can make bad jokes. Because you are a rabbi.
Yeah, even if they're bad jokes.
If you are a humorist,
Comic,
you,
yes,
can,
yeah.
you cannot do.
Yeah.
54.
Can I mention one thing, please, before
Yeah.
you?
Okay.
We have Monday and Thursday minyonim,
Yes.
and we really need some help on Mondays and Thursdays making a minyan. It's really tight. So if any of you can or know of people that want to come ahead and come on Mondays and Thursdays at 8:45, that would really be helpful. We need some good support in the minyan department. Thank you.
Yes, you can get an aliyah for free.
That's right. You know, I give them on wholesale too.
Sometimes a bagel also. No, doctor?
All right.
Okay.
Page
Muy bien.
54. Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos, Chag Sameach, good Yontiv, and a very pleasant Omer, but you're not supposed to have a pleasant Omer. Don't get married, don't get a haircut. Okay, the closing benediction. The Lord bless you and keep you. And Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. And Lord turn his face unto you and grant you peace. We'll say Amen.
Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach, good Shabbos, Yasher Koach.
You too.
Shabbat Shalom.